Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program this evening. Folks, we've got a whole lot of things that we want to talk about tonight, but I first want to put up this picture here. I've been waiting to put up this picture for about 2 weeks now. Welcome, afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Peeps. Afternoon, peeps. I've wanted to show you this for a week now, and I finally put it up. I'm sorry I didn't put it up before now. I really wanted to show it to you long before now. I'm glad I finally did. We want to welcome everybody to our program. We're coming to you again from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina, on the mountain range over in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're glad to be here with you all tonight. Folks, we've been trying to get on the air for about 40 minutes. We had, just as I was trying to get on the air earlier, we found out from a friend of ours over in Iceland that the Icelandic volcano has erupted. I'm going to take you there right now. Okay? This is incredible. This is incredible. I want you to see this. Look at this, guys. This is live from Iceland. I couldn't get any more live if I wanted to. This is live from Iceland, guys. 4 different views of the eruptive fissure. It's a huge fissure. This is so brand new. This is so brand new that they have not even gotten a measurement of how long this fissure is. But it is a long fissure. Okay? Now, I've got a complete report for you of what exactly is going on there in Iceland. This is beautiful, isn't it? This is absolutely stunning video here. Now, folks, in order to get through all the garbage we've had to go through to get this information to you, I want to point out one thing. Okay? This video is not being altered in any way. This video is live. This video is very live right now. Okay? Now, it couldn't get any more live if it wanted to be, actually. Okay? It's honest. It's unreal. This is brand new video. Okay? We've been working on this for about an hour now. Okay? I want to start off by saying Iceland erupts again. And it is. You can see the volcanic plume. You can see the lava plume rising from the fissure eruption. See that steam rising from the fissure eruption? That is live. That is usually what happens. That is exactly what happens when a volcano erupts. Now, Olafur Lúðvíksson, who is a police chief in Swarnes, Iceland, said the evacuation of Grindavik is underway. It's going very well. 22 or 23 houses were occupied. There's also activity at the Blue Lagoon Spa. The police chief said that this is ongoing. They're going to evacuate that whole area. Okay? There have been around 100 people who have stayed at the Blue Lagoon Hotel. As the situation is now, the police chief says he's not too worried about the evacuation because the eruption is in such a convenient place. The eruption is north of the area. Well north of the area. Well north of where it has previously erupted. Now, I'm going to show you a map in a few minutes where this is taking place. But this eruption is happening in a very convenient place, and the weather system, the breeze, the wind is going into a northwesterly location. Northwesterly location, meaning Grindavik and the Blue Lagoon Spa and the thermal complex, the geothermal facility that provides power, that provides hot water to all of Grindavik's continent. to the entire island is not going to have any danger at all. Most of the people that work at the geothermal facility have already been evacuated, and the geothermal facility is on automatic. It's being remotely operated. This is the 9th eruption in Iceland. It was so amazing to see and watch this huge fire. As many of you can see, it always surprises me so much. Okay? Vjor Reyneson, the senior police officer at Civil Defense, says the evacuation of the Blue Lagoon, Grindavik, and Svartsengi power station has been successful. Few people were even in the area. Okay? The contractors who worked on the defensive walls. Okay, we've reported in the past defensive walls around Grindavik, the Svartsengi power plant, and the Blue Lagoon Spa have been put up to 90 feet high. There are still contractors that were working on the defensive walls when this eruption happened. Okay? When the eruption happened, the contractors were still working on the defensive walls. They have been evacuated after this eruption started. So nobody's lives are in danger at all. Okay? Nobody's lives are in danger at all. Now, only half an hour passed between the evacuation of the area and the eruption. They had repeatedly felt earthquakes in this area. They repeatedly felt earthquakes. Approximately 125 earthquakes happened before the eruption started. Everyone was out of the danger area in an acceptable time. Police Officer Vjor says all procedures have worked very well and that no one is considered to be in any kind of danger. Vjor says that the focus is now on protecting infrastructure. At the beginning of the eruption, it is very difficult to say what needs to be done. But they have had plans, emergency plans on paper before any of this happened. Since the eruptions have been happening, they have had these plans going. They have plans and they have revised those plans over months now. But this is just the latest of the 9 eruptions that have happened. The eruption started over on the closest area closest to Grindavik started in November last year. Today's eruption is the 9th in those series. Okay? The lava flow runs to the west, north of Svartsengi. Vjor says the wall defenses are already ready. At this point, there is no seismic activity visible to the south along the magma corridor. The most seismic activity is to the north, which indicates that the magma is breaking away to the north rather than to the south. Jordis Gudmundsson, Jordis Gudmundsdóttir, and I've explained this before, how they have sons and daughters. Gudmundsdóttir, Mr. Gudmunds was the father of Gudmundsdóttir. That's how they name their sons and daughters. If it was Gudmundsson, it was been his son. This is Gudmund's daughter. Gudmundsdóttir, communications director of the Civil Defense, said that the entire reaction system and coordination center have been activated. The Civil Defense people asked people not to travel to the eruption site. Please, if you are in Iceland now or intend to go to Iceland, stay away from the eruption site. There's nothing to see there. You can see the eruption on local television. You can see the eruption on YouTube. It's published there. The Met Office, which is a meteorological office that takes care of meteorological information, volcanic information, and earthquake information, first published the first aerial photo of the eruption. Now, I'm not going to put that up because we have aerial photos right here in front of you that are video. There's many video cameras in the area. There's about 8 different video cameras that are recording this eruption. You can see that the fissure is long, and it stretches to the south and to the north. The lava flow is to the west this time. The lava flow is to the west. not towards Grindavik. Benedict Ofigsson, head of the deformation measurements at the Icelandic Meteorological Office, says it's uncertain how long this fissure will prove to be. It's still getting longer, both to the north and to the south. He says the seismic activity started at 2048, 8:48 Icelandic time, which was approximately 2 hours ago. Just a few minutes later, deformation signals, earthquakes, were visible along all the data. They've been watching on the seismographs, and it also was immediately clear that the magma run had started. The eruption started at 21:26, 2 hours, just over, actually now 2.5 hours ago. The eruption has started near Grindavik. A state of emergency was declared shortly after 9 p.m. In the run-up to the eruption, seismic activity increased and pressures changed and occurred near different boreholes. Again, the boreholes are way down in the earth, so there would be no weather, lightning interference, or trucks driving by near the seismograph. These deep seismographs are located deep in the earth, near that area. That way no other activity will be recorded. It will be strictly seismic activity beneath the earth, beneath the surface. The area was evacuated. Again, defensive walls have been built, and no employees that were building the walls were in the area when the eruption started. I repeat, there are no employees of any kind in the eruption area or near the eruption area at all. No one in Grindavik at all. There were about 22 or 23 people staying in homes in Grindavik, and those people have been evacuated. People were evacuated over at the harbor, where people were processing fish. The ships came in about 7 p.m. Tonight, had dropped off their fish load, and those fish are on ice. So the fish will not have problems staying fresh. The fish are on ice, but the people have been evacuated now. Okay? Now I'm going to stop here and ask you if you have any questions. I want to make sure that we answer any questions for you. I feel this is very important for everybody to understand what is going on. Okay? I think it's very important that we understand what's going on. Now I'm going to take these videos down, these camera videos down for a second, and I want to explain how the eruption started. Magma from deep under the earth came up in the Svartsengi area, just under the power plant, just under the Blue Lagoon. Now, as you can see, as that dike raises up, the magma goes out like this, and there's deformation, land rise. There's deformation, land rise. As that land rise started, the magma started also to dissipate to the north and to the south. As that magma dissipated to the north, it pulled through or pushed through rock and earth until it got to where the present fissure is located. Okay? That's exactly what happened the last few times that the volcano erupted. Magma pushed through the earth horizontally until it got to where it is right now. And as it got to that area, it pushed upwards like this, and it erupted at the surface. That's why we have those fissure eruptions. This is a good picture of a magma dike. That's why I wanted to show it to you. This is a very good picture of a magma dike. Does any magma is spelled M-A-G-M-A. M-A-G-M-A. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, I've wanted to explain this, and this is, I found the best picture yet of a magma dike. And this is why Svartsengi Power Plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, where they exist right now, the earth has risen up. Okay, the magma underneath the ground has pushed up from underneath, causing the land to rise. Now that the fissure has erupted, the magma is flowing horizontally to that fissure. And this magma dike, this magma reservoir, is going to subside. The magma reservoir is going to subside, and the land where the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, it's going to go back down. Okay? It's going to go back down. Any questions? Any questions? I thought this was really important. That's why I wanted to make sure that I had all the information to talk to you about it. Okay? There are other channels that are put out, but they did not have this information that I had because I've got my sources over in Iceland. Okay? I've got my sources over in Iceland. They're feeding me information. And I also have access to their websites. Okay? Any questions? Ms. Stone Burke is asking, do these volcanoes follow rift or chain-like pattern? In this case, it is a fissure eruption, so it's like a chain-like pattern going along the just beneath the surface of the earth. Just beneath the surface. It's like a chain pattern. The magma is passing underneath the surface like this. The magma is poking and breaking its way through rock, which caused those 125 earthquakes just prior to the eruption. Rock fracturing. The magma beneath the surface is causing rock fracturing, which is earth movement, earthquakes. And yes, Demon Catman's had to repeat that this volcano is in Iceland. This is not in the United States. It's not anywhere else in Europe but Iceland. Okay? It's nowhere near any land areas where people live. Okay? It's nowhere near any land areas where people live. Now I want to do something here. Oh gosh. And now I've lost that. I've lost my information here. Doggone it. I also want to report that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made a huge announcement tonight. He was going to go live. I believe he was going to go live with President Trump either tomorrow night or right before President Trump's press conference tomorrow night. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made a huge announcement tonight. I believe that announcement happened as a result of his vice presidential candidate saying that he was probably going to join President Trump's ticket. Or actually, I'm not saying ticket. He was going to endorse President Trump, and endorsing President Trump would give him a possibility of either being as a head of a three-letter agency, probably the Food and Drug Administration that Robert F. Kennedy has been trying to dismantle for a long time, or he was going to work in the president's administration. Okay? I will give you more information about that tomorrow night. Okay? Ray Spur says Iceland is technically splitting in two. That's technically correct. However, it's not because of the volcano. Iceland is splitting in two because of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Let's go down here, and not down here for you, but let's go over and show you the USGS map. Okay? Let me take down my mug, and let me take down my banner, because I want you to see what's going on. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to make sure you get the most out of this, what we're trying to show you here. And it's really important that we show you this. Okay. I've got the map set. Let's go over here to the Mid-Atlantic Fault in Iceland. Okay? See this Mid-Atlantic Fault going right up from the southern part of the Atlantic Ocean? Way down here in the South Sandwich Island area. By the way, there is an earthquake down here. There is an earthquake down here in the South Sandwich Islands. This earthquake happened earlier this morning. Okay? It was a 4.7 earthquake. A 4.7 moderate earthquake. We've had a lot of earthquakes here in the South Sandwich Islands. We've had 4.5s, 4.7s, 5s, and even 6.5 earthquakes down here in the South Sandwich Islands during the past few years. Now this earthquake is going to migrate its way over here to the central Atlantic Ocean and the South Atlantic. This earthquake will make its way up the Mid-Atlantic here. It's going to make its way up the Mid-Atlantic. Now, by the time it gets up here, it's going to be probably no more than a small 3-point-something earthquake. But as earthquakes hit, they make their way through the Mid-Atlantic here. Now, to give you an idea of what happens and what is happening in Iceland today, the Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. Now, I want to put up my mug again to give you a good idea of what's actually going on. Okay? What is actually happening? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is going like this. It's going like this. It's spreading the Atlantic Ocean. It's spreading the Atlantic Ocean from the middle out. Okay? The Mid-Atlantic is pushing Europe in an easterly direction. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing North America, Greenland, Canada, and the United States and Mexico in a southwesterly direction like this. That's what's happening. As it pushes the Earth, the plate, as it expands, it's taking Iceland. It's taking Iceland and splitting it. It's actually taking Iceland and splitting it. Let me take down my mug and I'll increase the size of Iceland here. And this is important. This is important. It's vitally important to everybody here in Iceland. It's vitally important to everybody around the world. Because this expansion of the Mid-Atlantic Fault is going to cause Iceland to be cut in half. It's going to cause Iceland island to be cut in half at some point in time. Now, folks, you don't have to worry about anybody in Iceland right now. And I don't think we have to worry about Iceland for probably 10 to 30 years. Sometime between 10 and 30 years from now. Iceland will split in half at some point in time. But I don't think anybody has anything to worry about in the very near future. It's not going to happen in the very near future. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, guys. It's not going to happen in the very near future at all. But with this expansion of the Mid-Atlantic Fault, it also is making volcanism easier to break through the surface of Iceland. That is one of the reasons I believe that the volcano has erupted today over here on the Reykjanes Peninsula. Let me zoom in here to show you the Reykjanes Peninsula. Okay? This is the Reykjanes Peninsula now. This is where the volcanic fissure has opened up. Let's zoom in closer here. This is a city of Grindavik that's been evacuated. Let's zoom in even closer here. Okay? I want you to know what's happened. This is Grindavik Harbor. Ships pull onto these piers. There are actually 3 piers here. They offload their cargo, fresh caught fish, at these different piers. And this is where they process the fish. And they ship this fish out to various parts of Iceland, literally all over that continent, all over that island. Even these great big huge warehouses where they're processing these fish have been evacuated, at least for now. Okay? Now, the last time we had an issue at Grindavik was because there was a volcanic eruption out here. A great big huge fissure erupted just off the northwest side of Grindavik. Northwest side of Grindavik out here. It erupted in 2 different locations, 2 separate eruptions. The second eruption was closer to Grindavik, and as a result, lava spread over the volcanic field, over the landscape, and it approached Grindavik and came into the west side of Grindavik. It burned down 3 homes in Grindavik. It burned down 3 homes in Grindavik before it stopped moving. Since then, they've had Grindavik evacuated several times before. Right before Christmas, they allowed citizens of Grindavik to return to their homes. They at least celebrated Christmas in their homes. Then right after that, 2 days after Christmas, we had another volcanic eruption. Another fissure erupted. This time, it was not anywhere close to Grindavik. It was further north and west of Grindavik. Let's pull out a little bit. That fissure was out here. That fissure was out here. Now, we've had numerous fissures since then. Again, today is the 9th fissure eruption that we've had here in Iceland since November. The 9th eruption since November. Now, I'm going to pull out even more. I want to show you where this eruption is happening now. Okay? Huggerfeld. Huggerfeld is a volcano out here. Huggerfeld is not erupting. However, the fissure eruption is out here. The fissure eruption is out here in the landscape here. It's not anywhere near anybody's homes, nor businesses, any kind of human-led occupation. This time, the fissure is long again, but it's not going to affect anyone locally at all. Now, as this fissure opens up, it may open up even in a longer direction going north. As it opens up, we're also going to see weather changes, wind changes. That wind may blow the lava plumes to the south. To the south. What do we have over here? What do we have over here? I want to show you this. And again, this is important to understand what exactly is going on. Okay? I want everybody to understand what is going on. Over here, and I'm sorry I had a better the other day I had a better close-up picture of this, and now they're not letting me get any closer than this. This is where the Svartsengi power plant is. Over to the northwest from there, right next to the Svartsengi power plant, is the Blue Lagoon Spa. Okay? The Blue Lagoon Spa was occupied by about 100 to 200 different people enjoying the warm waters that had medicinal properties in them as a result of the magma beneath the surface. Both the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, as I've stated, have been evacuated completely. Why is that? Sorry guys. My son's calling my wife, and as a result, I had the link opened up on my computer. I've now shut it off. Anyway, this Svartsenga power plant has been evacuated. The Blue Lagoon Spa has been evacuated, and Grindavik has also been evacuated. The weather changes. As the weather changes, winds go to the south, to the west, and to the north. As the winds change, these lava plumes may be blown over here into the Blue Lagoon area, or the Svartsenga power plant, or even Grindavik. That's why these areas have been evacuated. They don't want anybody breathing in this toxic air. The gases coming from the fissure eruption are full of SO2, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide, both toxic gases. If people get too much of those gases, they may lose air in their lungs and they could die. The last fissure eruption that we had, there was a security agent over at the Blue Lagoon Spa. He was just patrolling the property to keep it safe. But he almost died as a result of inhaling sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. That's why this whole area has now been evacuated. The only people who are even allowed anywhere in this area are police and security personnel. And they have been issued gas masks. They have been issued gas masks to go in this area if they have to. Okay? That's what's happening. Don Patoka says, don't snort the gas. Don't snort the gas. No, it's not breathable. It's toxic gas. Okay? It's toxic gas. Gina Kane is here saying, hope everybody's having a great day. Gina, thank you for that. We appreciate you being here. Anyway, but does anybody have any questions about what is happening over at Svartsenga, at the Blue Lagoon, or the geothermal facility, or over here in the Reykjanes Peninsula with this eruption? I want to make sure we've answered any of your questions. Okay? Don Patoka's here. I love you, Don. You're so cool. Don Patoka says common sense is like deodorant. The folks who need it most seldom have it. Don, you're awesome. You're absolutely right, too. You're absolutely right. Oh, Don, I love you. You're awesome. Anyway, folks, there have been no huge eruptions anywhere else. There was a volcanic eruption over in Honshu, Japan. There was a volcanic eruption over in Honshu, Japan. Sakurajima volcano erupted 2 days ago, and it's still erupting, up to 20,000 feet high. The Sakurajima volcano over in Japan has erupted up to 18,000 feet high. Okay, let's go over there and take a look. I want you to know where it's going on. USGS is not showing any earthquakes here, which is a false data. False data. Sakurajima volcano is over here in the southeastern part of Honshu, Japan. Right up in here. The Sakurajima volcano. There are people that live outside of the area of Sakurajima. There is a good-sized town just outside of Sakurajima, and they have essentially evacuated the outskirts of that area. That way, just in case something happens, if there's a lava bomb that's lobbed into the air by the volcano, nobody's going to get hurt. There is lava going down the sides of that volcano, just so you know. There have been other volcanic eruptions as well, but the good thing with that is there have been no injuries, and essentially, and maybe tomorrow night we'll talk about volcanic eruptions, but essentially there have been no other volcanic eruptions of any substance so far. Now, substance goes a long way. Because I know over in Ecuador, for example, that there are two volcanoes over there. Sangay Volcano and Reventador Volcano. And both of those volcanoes are lobbing ash and toxic gas up to 25,000 feet high. But that happens almost every day. Those two volcanoes are always erupting, and they've always been erupting for about 4 years now. Tomorrow night, I think we'll touch on what's happening around the world with the volcanoes. Over here in China, this earthquake happened last night. This is a 5.2 earthquake that happened at approximately 9:38 Eastern Time last night. A 5.2 large earthquake, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Over here near Taiwan, we have more earthquakes here. This is another aftershock from an 8.4 earthquake here earlier this year. This is just one more aftershock from this earthquake that happened earlier this year. It was a major 8.4 earthquake. Okay, we've had quite a few 8.4 earthquakes over here on the western side of the Pacific. Quite a few of them. Okay, let's go over here to Indonesia. I want to talk about some earthquakes over here, but first, let's go over here to the Philippines. Just on the southeastern side of Mindanao, Philippines. This earthquake happened earlier this afternoon. This they've downgraded to 4.9. This came out as a 5.1 earthquake. They upgraded it to 5.2, and now they've downgraded it again to 4.9. What a joke. This, however, is not anywhere close to the islands of the Philippines. Fortunately enough, this is out in the ocean. This is 88 kilometers southeast of Point Agat in the Philippines. 88 kilometers southeast of Point Agat in the Philippines. The ocean waters of the Pacific absorbed the shock waves of this quake. It's only a 4.9 earthquake supposedly now. Now, I've not had time to go into the depths of this earthquake to find out how strong it really was. But since it's out here in the ocean, far enough away from any land so nobody gets hurt, I'm not going to worry too much about it. If anybody was close to this earthquake, I would talk about it more. Okay? But nobody was hurt there. Nobody's anywhere close to it. Now, there are other earthquakes in the Philippines. The USGS decides whether they're going to show them or whether they're not. In this case, they've not shown the other earthquakes. And yes, we have some 4.0s, 4.3s, 4.5 earthquakes over here in the Philippines. But unfortunately, the USGS decides they're not going to show them to you. Let's go south here. Tubelo, Indonesia. Tubelo, Indonesia, south of the Philippines. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake. This is 73 kilometers deep. 73 kilometers deep. South and west of there, Gorontalo, Indonesia. There just happens to be a volcano over here in Gorontalo, Indonesia. Today we have a 4.6 earthquake here. And just because USGS decides not to show the other earthquakes, this is such a poor showing by USGS. There's approximately 18 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 18 earthquakes. What are they showing? Garbage. They're showing 5 earthquakes over here in Indonesia. That's a joke. Going further south over here in south central Indonesia. This is a 4.0 moderate quake. A 4.0 moderate quake. It's only 338 kilometers deep, however. That's still a fairly shallow quake. We've seen these quakes up to 589, 650, 675 kilometers deep. This is a medium well earthquake, medium depth earthquake. Okay, it's not going to cause any problems with that. Let's go over here further to the southeast. This is a different situation. This is a 5.1 earthquake. Again, it's a very shallow earthquake, 103 kilometers deep. A 5.1 earthquake. This came out as a 5.4. It's been downgraded to 5.1. 103 kilometers deep. Okay? It happened at 7:17 a.m. this morning. It actually woke me up when they announced it. Further over here, this is Timor-Leste, Indonesia. Timor-Leste, Indonesia, over here by the Banda Sea. This again is a 5.1 large earthquake. A 5.1 large earthquake. Again, it's 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Okay? We go over here to Papua New Guinea. This is also